going to be showing you step by step exactly how I make my vintage candles. In case you missed it, I actually just dropped my holiday candle collection, joining a whole tiered business, you know what I mean? I'll leave it linked for you so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to show you the easiest way to clean this out. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm so excited because I'm going to be showing you step by step exactly how I make my vintage candles. This is a project that you may have seen me work on throughout this year. You may have even shopped one of the collections that I've dropped this year. In fact, in case you missed it, I actually just dropped my holiday candle collection earlier this month. And so if you've not had the chance to shop that, believe it or not, there are still quite a few vessels for you to choose from. They make great gifts. I'll leave that link for you and you can go check it out. Today I'm going to teach you step by step how to make your own. So whether you have gone thrifting a lot, which if you are a community member here on this channel, you probably love thrifting as much as I do. So whether or not you have thrifted your own vessel, or you have an old family like teacup or glassware or bowl or something that kind of has just been passed down to you, but you don't really know what to do with and you can't really get rid of, here's a great way to repurpose it. Or in the newest candle collection I just launched, I actually included an empty vessel option so that you can purchase the vessel that you love and then DIY your own candle with whatever scent you love. So I'm really excited to share with you exactly how I do this. I'm going to share all the supplies that I use. I'm going to share my step-by-step process that I've kind of figured out works best for me. I'm going to share everything. I'm going to have links to everything you're going to be taken care of. And then I also am 99% sure I'm going to also have a blog post. So if it's easier for you to go read like a supply list or all the links, everything is going to be included for you in the description and also on that blog post. So that being said, I would love for you to go check out the list, grab all the supplies that you need, and then come back and DIY with me as we make some vintage candles. Now, I'm going to start off by sharing all of the supplies that you're going to need, and I will make sure to link every single one so that way you can easily go and grab it. So the first thing that you're going to need, of course, is wax. Now, this is quite a large bag of wax, and I actually have a few, but that's because I'm fulfilling candle orders. Obviously, you don't need a ton. I will say that once it melts down, you'll be surprised how much it condenses, and so this actually doesn't make as many candles as you would think 5 pounds of wax would. So just keep that in mind. I think one bag would be great for y'all because I have multiple bags, and I think that you could definitely make a candle for yourself and also a few gifts with one bag. So I'll leave this linked. The one I use is the Midwest container soy wax. So that means that I can melt it down and pour it into a container. And it sits well, it doesn't bubble. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a container wax. I prefer 100% soy wax. That is a personal preference. I think it burns cleaner. If you watch the channel, I'm like a little crunchy, like a little bit. I like to pursue more non-toxic options. I'm not perfect, but I like to pursue more non-toxic options. So for me, soy wax was a good compromise for having a candle. And so this is the one I settled on. It was 100% soy wax. So you're going to need one bag of that. I don't know the technical term for this, but you're also going to need a pitcher. And if you type in like candle melter, wax melter, whatnot, I'll leave it linked for you so you don't have to worry about it. I chose this one. There's also other options that are not quite as cute. I don't know why, but I just really wanted the cute one. But basically it's just a pitcher and you sit it inside of a double boiler. It's kind of like chocolate. Double boil it so that way it melts without burning or without getting everywhere. It's just trust me, you're gonna want the pitcher to do a double boiler. I literally just use like my big pasta pot, and then I stick the double boiler in it just like that. And I will show you this, but you're gonna need like a large pot for water, and then you're going to need this pitcher. Now, I've also seen this hack. I've not personally tried this for myself, but you are welcome to try it if you would like to, where people are going and thrifting like an old coffee maker, and they're using it in order to heat up and melt their wax, like in the bottom of the coffee maker. If you want to try that, you can. Basically, it's like a throwaway coffee maker at that point. So if you'd rather do that, you can. I personally have not tried that, so I can't like speak to how well that works, but I thought it was a creative idea. So there's another option if you don't want to get the picture, but this has worked very well for me. Next, you're going to need Wicks. So a pack of Wicks comes like this. This is 100 Wicks. They have the little metal bottoms, and these also come with the sticker, for lack of a better word, to glue it to the bottom of your vessel. These also come with a few of the sticks in order to keep the wick straight while the candle is setting. So I find that this is really useful. I'm pretty sure that these are just 6-inch wicks. So if you have a really tall vessel, you may need taller ones. But the reason I chose these, and this is what I personally look for in a wick, is that they are 100% cotton and that they don't have a metal center, because I don't want to be burning metal and breathing that in. That's, again, a personal preference, and believe it or not, if you go to the store and you look down the center of a wick and you see a little black dot in the center of your wick, that means it's metal inside the wick and you're breathing that in when you burn it. So maybe like, just look for ones that don't have that little black center in the middle. So these are 100% cotton. They are not bleached. There's no fragrances in the wax that is coating them. So I felt pretty good about burning these, and so that's why I chose these, and I will leave them linked for you as well. This is also a little hack that I learned. So you are going to need coconut oil. Now, you don't need a ton of it, but you're going to mix this into your wax, and because of the nature of soy wax, it tends to dip, and it's not quite as, I guess, strong as a normal candle wax, which is why some people don't love to use it. But for me, having it be all natural and a little better to breathe is really, really worth it, and I find I don't really have a ton of issues with it. But I did find that using just a touch of coconut oil when you're melting it down really helps the soy wax to sit a lot smoother and to burn a lot cleaner. So I would highly recommend just having a little bit of coconut oil on hand for when you do this. And lastly, you're going to need your scents. Again, I recommend a high quality essential oil. You can definitely go buy ones from Walmart, TJ Maxx, whatever. That is it. It's your candle. You can do it however you like. I personally, if I went through all the trouble to make a non-toxic candle, I want a high quality essential oil I feel good about breathing in. After doing my research, there's definitely some top tier brands out there. You probably know somebody who has been selling them to you. And I have zero problem with them. I think that all of those brands are probably the highest quality that you can get. However, I didn't want to join a business in order to make candles. I just didn't. So instead, I found Revive essential oils, and they are supposedly just as high quality. They're traceable. You can find it all on their website. And this is not sponsored in any way. This is just what I personally found when I was searching, was Revive essential oils. And the reason I liked them is simply because I could just buy them off their website without joining a business. They're really well priced for high quality essential oils. They smell good. You know, it was easy. It was easy for high quality oils. That's why I went with them. So I want to save you the trouble of searching them out. If you are looking for a high quality oil without, you know, joining a whole tiered business, you know what I mean? You can use Revive essential oils, or like I said, use whatever oils you want. I don't care. It will work the same. It's just a matter of what you prefer. But like I said, this isn't sponsored, but I do have like a referral code that got sent to my email, and I'll definitely leave it for you because I think it saves you money. So I'll definitely leave that for you if you're interested in using them. I'll definitely have that for you. So that is what you will need: wax, wicks, coconut oil, your double boiler pitcher or coffee maker, whatever method you want to use, and your essential oils, and of course, your empty vessel. So now that we have everything that we need, it is time to prep our vessels in order to begin the pouring process. So step one of making your candles is you're going to get your large pot. This is just a large pasta pot, and your double boiling pitcher, and you're just going to fill your large pot with water. And you want it filled almost to the top. Okay, step two is you're going to set that on high so it starts boiling. And while that's boiling, we're going to fill our little double boiler with our wax. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, I don't have an exact amount of wax that you should burn. I've always done these kind of like larger orders, so at least 3 to 5 at a time. And so I usually just fill my pitcher up. But I would just say test it out. You will need more than you think you will. So the wax kind of looks like this. It kind of looks like little pellets, and that's just going to make it really easy to melt down. Then you're just going to take your full wax, and don't worry, it will never spill over. It will only melt down. So like you don't need to worry about it overfilling. Just make sure that it's in there. So you're going to take your wax and you're just going to pop it into your boiling water. And I found, this is a little hack, you don't have to do this, but you see how it kind of like wobbles around and it kind of bobs? I find that if I hook the handle of the double boiler through the handle of my pot, it just tends to stabilize it a little bit more and I don't have to worry about it. So while that's melting down, because this will take a little while to melt down, not like hours or anything, but it'll take a solid few minutes, we're going to get our candles prepped and ready. So this is what I mean by prepped and ready. We're going to make sure our wick is in place and glued to the bottom, and we're going to make sure that our wick is also nice and stabilized and straight. So this is an example of prepped and ready, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So you want to take your vessel and determine the amount of wicks that you want to use. For this vessel of this size, in order to make sure it burns cleanly, I think that I am personally going to use 2 wicks. So I'm going to take the sticker that came with these wicks and I'm going to peel off just one side, and I'm going to stick the center of my wick right in the middle, just like that. Now I'm going to peel off the other side. And since I'm going to do 2 wicks, I'm going to keep that in mind and space these out. And you just stick it down. Repeat it with the second one. And stick it to the other side. Just like that. Now you also, before you pour it, you're going to want to stabilize it. So I don't know if this is long enough. I've also used like kitchen utensils. But basically you're going to want to keep that wick standing upright, and it doesn't feel like it'd be that difficult now, but the moment that you pour hot wax into this, this is also made with a wax coating that keeps it stiff, and the moment you pour hot wax, this whole thing is just going to want to like sink and melt into your candle. So that is why it's so important to have something holding it upright. But now that we have our vessels ready to go, we're just going to wait for our wax to finish melting, and this could take a while. Every once in a while, I like to just give it a little bit of a stir with a knife, just because I find that that's the easiest to clean afterward. I would not use like a fork or a spoon or anything where the wax will get caught in it. And as soon as you pull your knife out of the wax, I would wipe it off with a paper towel before any wax residue gets on it. Typically, it's all melty, and so you can wipe it right off without messing up your knife or anything. But I find that that works best, and I just kind of keep mixing it up and keep adding and keep melting until it is completely melted. And like I said, it can take a while. So you can see that there is some waxy residue on this, but I usually just take it while it is still hot and wipe it off with a paper towel. That way there's no residue and I can clean it when the time comes. Okay, so once you have it all melted down, you're gonna add your coconut oil. Now the trick here is that you only want a very small amount for the amount of wax that you have. So I have a very full pitcher of wax, so I don't want that much coconut oil, and you will probably want even less than that, because otherwise, think about what coconut oil does to heat. Your candle will melt immediately. So just a small touch of it, and then we're just going to make sure it's well incorporated. And we're going to let that melt all together for a little longer and get up to a nice temperature. Now, once it is melted completely, you're going to take it out of the heat and sit it to let it cool. You don't want the wax to get cold again, but you do want it to kind of come down from its temperature a little bit before you add in your essential oils. So this particular scent is going to be my Winter Breeze, which is lemon, orange, and balsam fir. And something that I learned throughout this process was that you're going to need more essential oil than you think you are. You really want this to be overwhelming before you put it in, because the scent doesn't hold the same way that you think it will. So I'm going to put in quite a bit, and especially for one this large of size. So the more you put in, the better it's going to smell. So this one is going to have a lot of lemon. All right, and then it's also going to have a good bit of orange. It's already smelling really good. And then, of course, balsam fir. Now I'm going to be careful with the balsam fir because I think it's a stronger smell. So I got that in there, and now I'm going to stir it up and smell it. Oh yeah. I wish you guys could smell this right now. So yeah, obviously when you're DIYing this, DIY it for your preference. For me, I'm doing this for the collection, and so I want to make sure that you can smell this. And especially with it being really high quality essential oils, I'm not worried about it being too strong or too fragrant. I really want to make sure that it smells really good. So I am putting in, as you can see, a lot of scent. And another thing that I like to do is after I pour them into the vessels, I'll probably add a little bit more on top just to make sure that it smells really good. And so I'm going to just stir this. And now that my wax has cooled a little bit, it should hold on to this scent a lot better than if you put it in when it's just boiling hot. And so you'll notice that the wax starts to get a little thicker. Do you see that? It's not quite like water. It's got like a little bit more of a viscosity to it. So I'm just going to make sure that's really well incorporated. Make sure I can still smell it. And then here comes the hardest part, in my opinion, and that is pouring it. Just because it can get really nerve-wracking. So I'm going to show you how I do it and what to be on the lookout for when you're pouring. Just because it's one of those things that's not a difficult thing to do, but you just want to make sure that you're really keeping an eye on your wicks and that they're not bending on you. Okay, so I have my candle and I have my wick nice and straight. So I'm going to hold that while I pour, and I'm just going to really gently pour right into the vessel. All the way to the top. And then I'm just going to add a couple more drops of lemon right to the top. So then I'm carefully going to set this one aside because you don't want to like slash it around so that way it doesn't make the edges really messy. So I'm carefully going to sit this one out of the way to set up and to cool. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get one more candle out of this wax that I melted. So that's a perfect example of how I had a full pitcher and I only got 3 relatively small candles out of it. So we're going to be repeating this process quite a few times. and I'm going to melt down some more wax and do it again. So then in a couple of hours, it will firm up and look something like this. And at this point, once it's firmed up, it's time to trim the wick. Now, I would recommend waiting anywhere from 12 to 24 hours before burning it, but this one's just for me, so I'm just gonna do this to show you. But you can trim it, and I usually just like to trim it to wherever the top of the vessel is. So you trim it, and then you can wind it. Now, like I said, I would definitely wait about 12 to 24 hours before actually burning your candle. But I also wanted to show you one more thing. Once you have your candle and you have burned it down all the way, example A, I'm going to show you the easiest way to clean this out. So you're going to want to take your candle that you're done with, and I'm just going to use an electric kettle because that makes it way easier. You don't need an electric kettle though. Just boil some water. So you just want some boiling water. That's all you need. I would recommend putting it into something that is easy to pour, so you're not going to like pour it on yourself and burn yourself. While you have your water boiling, it is imperative, especially if you have glass, and the thinner the glass, the more vital this is, to warm it up in your hands so that way it doesn't shatter on impact. It doesn't have to be hot or anything like that. You just don't want it super cold or room temperature, because then it's more likely to shatter. So I honestly just do like this. I just warm it up in my hands, you know, make sure that it is not super cold. I have the stove going, so I can, you know, put it over here, make sure that it's warm. You know, whatever it is you're doing, you don't want it to be hot enough that it's going to melt the wax or anything. It doesn't need to be that hot. But you just want to take that shock away if your glass is cold. So now that you got your glass and it's not like super cold, you're just going to take your kettle and you're going to take that boiling water and you're just going to pour it right in. And I'm going to pour it all the way to the top because then it's going to stay as hot as possible. And then you just let it sit. That's literally it. So we're gonna let this sit for probably like 30, maybe 45 minutes, and you're gonna let the wax melt and float to the top, and it's also going to dissolve the glue at the bottom of the wicks. But I will show you how magical it is. So I will see you in about 30 minutes. Okay, so it is the next morning. I let it sit overnight. You watched it for about an hour last night, and it honestly would have been ready, but I just lost the daylight, and I was like, you know what? It can wait for the morning. So this sat overnight, and now I'm going to show you how stinking easy this is. Okay, so you have your vessel. It has been sitting overnight, and then you literally just pick the wax up out of it. Isn't that wild? So then I have all my excess wax here, and then I can actually just pick up the wicks off the bottom also because it dissolved the glue. So I'm just going to do that. And that glue just scrapes right off. Sometimes it even comes up with the wick. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so then you're left with this, and you can either dump it out and do boiling water a second time, or you can just go ahead and scrub it with some soap and water and clean it up. Okay, so I dumped it out, and this is what I'm left with. And I think I personally am going to do a second round of boiling water, but you don't always need it. This wax was actually not soy wax. This was a candle that I had purchased a long time ago, and it's really sticking pretty severely. So I'm just going to do an extra round of boiling water just to make it easier to remove that wax, and that way I'm not accidentally scrubbing extra wax into my drains. that is one thing to note when you do this. When you dump out that water, make sure you're not dumping it down your drain. Please don't put wax down your pipes. Please dump it outside so that way you're not ruining your pipes. But I'm going to do one more round of boiling water. But that's the beauty of this technique, is that you're not doing any harsh scrubbing and you're kind of removing it in the cleanest way possible. Like, it doesn't get easier than that. I personally just find this method much more efficient. It cleans it more thoroughly. You get more wax out. You're not getting wax down your drain, and you're not making a mess chipping and scraping it out, because that's just a nightmare. So even though you kind of have to wait on it, you're not really doing any extra work. So I'm going to do one more round on this, and then I'm going to show you how clean it comes out. And then it comes out clean. And so you can either make another candle with it, or you can use it as a catch-all, or this one actually came with a lid originally, and so this would make a great little storage container in a bathroom. So that is my little hack for cleaning it out, and I'll be completely honest with you. This is the first time that I have done a like store-bought candle this way, and soy wax cleans out far easier than whatever store-bought candle wax. So that's a little hack, and another reason why to use soy wax in your candles, because if it is sticking like that, I can only imagine what it's doing to your lungs. So anyway, that is my little candle cleaning hack. No chipping, no scraping, just melt it off and a little soap and water, and there you go. Okay, so I let it sit overnight, and here is the final result. Now, one thing that I do want to show you is, see how this one has much more of a smooth surface? With soy wax, I am going to warn you, sometimes it doesn't sit the smoothest. Sometimes it can crater a little bit. That's just the nature of soy wax, but if that really bothers you, you can take a heat gun, or you can use just a little bit of heat. Don't use a hairdryer. I've made that mistake. Anything that blows heat, you're just going to get wax everywhere. Do not do that. But a little bit of heat, and you can even that out. Now, I would say, unless you're doing this as a gift or you're really concerned with it, I wouldn't worry about it. If it was for me burning it, I wouldn't worry about it, because the moment you start burning it, it's not going to be an issue anymore. But for me, making these for you guys for the collection, I'm definitely going to fix it and make it as smooth and beautiful as I can for you. So just keep that in mind if you do use the soy wax. That is one of the, I guess, characteristics of soy wax. So be prepared for that. And that is it. That is all that it takes to make your own DIY candles from vintage vessels. And I really hope that you love this DIY and this little project. There's just so much that you can do with it. You can use so many different kinds of vessels, from little bowls to milkshake glasses, little sugar dishes. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. And what I love is that with the little trick that I showed you on how to clean out your vessels when you're done, you can continue to refill your own candles and make them different scents each time, and continue to reuse them, or clean them out and use them as a catch-all, or maybe go back to using it as a milkshake glass. The possibilities are endless, and it is just such a simple and easy DIY for yourself, for friends, for family, for gifts for the upcoming holidays. It's just a really simple way to make something that you're used to buying. I really hope that you love this video. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you wish I had explained more, please leave me a comment. I'll answer everything. I also will be doing a blog post that I will link to this video that has all the supplies that you need and more of an in-depth step-by-step tutorial. And I will be linking all of the supplies in the description here as well. Don't forget that if you love these little custom candles, that you can shop them on my collection until November 30th. And then after that, only the empty vessels will be available, but you can still grab empty vessels and continue to DIY throughout the holidays. I hope that you loved this video. If you did, please subscribe, and I will see you so soon in the next one. Bye.